So we're talking about restaurant technology. So in your text, much of the technology that they discuss is kind of business related or office related. So there's point of sale systems, there's inventory management systems, customer loyalty tracking systems, programs for recipe tracking and costing, things like that. The important thing I think to keep in mind about all of this stuff is that number one, you still have to do the input. Nothing is automated. So for instance, in inventory management software, you still have to set up everything. You still have to set up your recipes. You have to enter product as it comes in. You still have to do physical inventory. A lot of these things make it seem like stuff should be easy, but for many restaurants, it's not. Perhaps for some place where a lot of stuff is coming in pre-prepared or at least pre-portioned and sort of ready to go and using a lot of convenience products, systems like that might work very well. But for places where there is an emphasis on scratch cooking, you're still having to do a lot of back-end work to make these systems operate the way that they're supposed to. And in smaller places, it may or may not be worth the effort to use these kinds of programs. Now, clearly, if you're trying to run some big operation or franchises or things like that, yes, you're going to need these kinds of pieces of technology. But for a mom and pop type restaurant, it's probably going to be more work to try to maintain, say, inventory management software than it really would actually be worth. Many point of sale systems have an inventory management integration in them, and I know very few small operators that actually use those features. Now, this is not to say they don't track their inventory; they just may not do it through this point of sale device. It's interesting. We're obviously in a very tech-driven time. We're taking this class online so that you can do this from either the privacy of your home or at the library if you need to, or even on your phone, I would suppose. I'm able to record these videos at home. I'm able to upload these to YouTube and then embed this onto our class. So it's really an amazing time tech-wise. But the truth is, we're still very much in an 18th century business, even though this is the 21st century. So, what it comes down to is us taking care of people and clearly also making money doing so. We have to keep that part in mind. But our technology, I think, really should be driven toward giving a better guest experience. And that's going to be changing over time as people age, as new technologies emerge, and as people get used to using the technologies that are already in place. So, for instance, most of us have had some kind of experience with a rewards card, and maybe even a sophisticated one like that are in place at grocery stores, where it tracks your spending. You may be able to get coupons that are tailored specifically toward your purchases. It gives all this information to the central office of the store, and they're able to make those kind of recommendations based on your purchase history. Now, in an unobtrusive way, that's great, right? You get discounts on things that you're already purchasing. Doesn't feel odd necessarily. But then when we take that a step further to where if you use social media sites, you may see ads for products that you've recently searched for on Google, or things that are related to products that you've recently searched for on Google. Not necessarily even that you're searching to buy something, but boom, up comes an ad that's somehow related to that search. Now, for me, that's a little bit creepy, but I'm old. and I feel like I shouldn't be spied on, and people shouldn't be using my preferences to market to me. But I would bet that by the time that my son, who's now a young boy, is my age, he'll feel differently about that because he's growing up with being tracked, being monitored, having internet search as a just daily feature of life. So I don't know. It will be interesting to see where this goes. Whether or not people are going to accept the kinds of intrusion and the kind of marketing that's going to come along with all of the data tracking and monitoring that's going on. Now, I do know that, it used to be in years past, when you went someplace and you were a regular, your preferences were noted, but they were noted because there were people that were doing that remembering, and you were feeling special because you were special. Somebody took the time to notice what your likes and dislikes were, where you like to sit, whether you wanted your soup piping hot or if you wanted it more room temperature or lukewarm, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, things that people would notice about you after you frequented a place, and then they would go out of their way to make you feel comfortable. Well, now you can do that through websites. So if you make reservations through services like OpenTable, for instance, that is recorded. All of your preferences are put into notes. Anybody who's using that service on the back end, meaning the restaurant end, can find out everything that they can possibly find out about you. Similarly, in high-end restaurants, you are going to be Googled when you make a reservation. I guarantee that. So if they can find any information about you to try to quote-unquote customize your experience, they're going to do that. Certainly, employers are going to do that. Every application I get, I look on various social media sites. I see what I can find out about people before they come in, because these are things that I want to know. So for all of you out there, beware what you put on your profiles. Those parties after the 3-day weekend where you've consumed 15 bottles of mezcal or something like that. Maybe you don't want those pictures floating around, because that stuff stays out there kind of forever. So that's sort of and so getting back to the recognition thing, now if I'm going someplace where I've never been and they have a lot of information about me, it feels a little bit creepy. To some degree, maybe it feels like maybe it's comfortable for some people, right? Knowing your preferences and being set up for that might not be a bad thing. It's hard to tell for each individual whether or where that line between just good service and taking care of somebody and being creepy and like a stalker jumps into play. So a lot of our technology is then based on this front of house management, whether that's table management, reservation management, inventory control, all of these kinds of things. This is also, though, an exciting time in terms of back-of-the-house technology with low-temperature cooking like sous vide, vacuum packaging, things like that becoming more commonplace in restaurant kitchens. It's really an exciting time to be a cook. That coupled with being able to get access to all sorts of information all over the internet and free exchange of ideas and things like that is absolutely amazing and fascinating. But again, our technology should be in service to one thing, which is great tasting food and a fabulous guest experience. It's amazing now that I don't yet, but I've certainly considered doing this. I can make training videos for how to prepare any of the dishes in any restaurant and show those to cooks coming in, and they can take a look at that on their own time, and they'd be able to access that whenever they need to. Certain restaurant groups have databases where all of their restaurants are linked, and cooks from all over can have access to the company server so that they can find recipes or view techniques or anything that they might need to do their job at that particular restaurant. So this is absolutely fascinating from a management standpoint and being able to free up time. But one thing we need to remember about our technology is that we are in what is known as a high touch business. People come to us for the most part to be taken care of, and I'm talking about people who are coming to places other than fast food restaurants. There are times when you go out to eat when all you're looking for is just to be fed. Simply, you're looking for calories and not much more. But most of the time when we go out, it's for other reasons. We may be celebrating. We may have anniversaries. It may be a sad occasion. We may be coming after a funeral. We may be on a date. We may be in a strange town on business, and we're wanting something that feels like home or familiar, or seeing what's unusual about the new place that we're in. Usually we're going out for reasons that have less to do with the food than people who work in kitchens would like to think. In all of these circumstances, however, we want to feel taken care of. And so if we can use our technology in ways that help people feel taken care of, that is fabulous. If we start to use them in intrusive and or abusive ways, then obviously that's not going to be good at all. Other aspects of technology include robotic cooking. Already fast food places are looking at automating parts of their systems, whether that's fries cooking or making burgers, things like that, and turning out, robot-produced food, which sounds, crappy and futuristic maybe, but for something like a fast food burger where they're already systematized and highly automated, it's just kind of the next logical step, right? But nothing is going to really take the place of human interaction and human cooking and human caring for one another, which is essentially at the heart of what we're doing. Remember way back to the beginning of the course when we were talking about the evolution of restaurants and where they came from, and that word restorative. We're trying to restore people to something, and as much as possible, let's harness our technology in service of that. If the tools can make it easier to do something, absolutely fabulous. If we can take a pork shoulder, vacuum seal that and put that in a low temperature bath and cook that for 24 hours, chill it down, cut that into steaks, and have this amazing pork steak that's unlike anything the customers had before, we should absolutely be doing that. If we have tools that allow us to market precisely to customers and they allow us or give us that permission to do that, we absolutely should be doing that. We should be trying to take care of our people in whatever way we possibly can. I'm not going to say much more on this video because the restaurant technology is constantly changing. Right, whether that's things like new lighting in the back of the house or hood systems that are engineered to only work when there's smoky air. I mean, there are all kinds of refinements and things that are happening daily. And in the front of the house system, that's really rapidly changing also. I think we're going to see a lot more mobile processing. We're certainly going to see a lot more mobile ordering, and we're going to see more applications taking the place of dedicated POS systems. But for now, let's be reading our text and taking a look at some of the links that I've provided. You're going to have the rest of this week really to work on your presentations because those need to be posted next week. We're getting down to the wire here. So again, any questions, let's get those in now.